In this LinkedIn ads tutorial for beginners, I'll show you exactly how to set up your first lead generation campaign in under 15 minutes. LinkedIn is a professional network and it's actually very powerful for B2B SaaS, particularly because you can reach decision makers, influencers, and even users of particular platforms that you're looking to sell. So by the end of this video, you'll have a complete LinkedIn lead gen campaign ready to launch. If you're new here, I'm Neil Patel. I'm a growth marketer based in the UK, and on this channel, I explain growth marketing and personal growth so we can better grow our businesses, our careers, and ourselves. Okay, so there are some prerequisites that we need to keep in mind. I'm on the LinkedIn Ads Marketing Solutions website, of course, and we're going to get started in a minute, but we need to make sure that we have like a business page, LinkedIn business page set up, which is a requirement so you can attach the account to your page. You also have a campaign manager account set up, and you also have some form of budget expectations so that you know what you're looking to spend on LinkedIn if you're testing out. So what you want to do, you want to quickly go onto LinkedIn ads and just go onto LinkedIn ads, and then it will take you to the business.linkedin.com marketing solutions page. You just hit create an ad, right? This will allow you to set up your campaign. Now, what you would simply do is you would set up your account. It'll take you through an account that you need to set up. So what we have here is campaign groups, campaigns, and ads. Campaign groups is essentially, if you just think about it as where on the funnel your particular campaigns will live, and what you're going to be specifically targeting those people with, that's usually a greater way to set up the account. And I'll go over best practices in a future video, but for now, let's get going. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a campaign group, right? And let's say I want to create it as, this is my awareness campaigns, right? So this is the first time I'm engaging with people. This is fairly new. I'm going to just quickly switch this off for now, and we're going to make sure it's active. We're going to make sure that it runs continuously, and make sure that this is budget optimization is kept off. And what we're going to do is hit create. So now that we have our awareness campaign group, we can start to create a campaign. This is particularly where you would think where all your targeting parameters live. So who you're targeting, the target audience you're going after, and what type of ad you want to target them with. So ad format you want to target them with. Create campaign, right? So when we create a campaign, we are asked to choose a campaign objective. So we are going to select that. We're going to be choosing today, for the aspect that you're wanting to generate some leads, we're going to be choosing lead generation. And the reason why is because this allows you to quickly generate leads, right? But within the LinkedIn platform. You might ask, why am I not going after website conversions or website visits? Well, one, because we're looking to reduce as much friction as possible to generate leads as soon as possible. And one way to do that is to keep users on the platform. What you should keep in mind is that if people are kept on the platform, there's less friction in the process, especially if they don't know you well enough. Therefore, you want to select a lead gen campaign, and we're going to select classic here. This is going to be more ideal for B2B SaaS startups who just want to generate some leads off the cuff. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to click on next. It's simply asking me for the campaign group I want to place the campaign into, and let's leave the campaign naming convention for now, right? What we know is that we wanted to set up a lead gen campaign. This is actually going to be great for people that have a valuable asset to provide to people on the LinkedIn platform. And it doesn't allow you to set up a landing page on your end, on your website, and forms, and then work out conversion tracking, that sort of thing, simply because this objective here allows you to create a form on LinkedIn itself and get people to fill out the form directly on LinkedIn. So select lead generation objective. And what you want to do here is you actually want to start to define your audience. We're going to go through the simplest ways of targeting your particular audience. Let's say I wanted to target the United States by first. You want to technically make sure that this says the United States. If you're selling to particular people within the United States, then what I would just look at is their permanent location. You don't need to do recent, simply because there could be people traveling for events, or they're actually not predominantly in that location. So we're going to switch this to permanent location and have United States that we're targeting. Now, what we want to do is layer on a specific set of targeting parameters. And that what we're going to be focused on is things like their audience attributes. There are ways to target people based off of a list upload. Let's say if you want to target a set of emails that you've already generated leads from, you want to set up a lookalike audience, which probably not used too much, or predictive audience, a retargeting audience, which you can set up i.e. if you want to retarget your existing website users, third party, so directly maybe from your CRM, and other, probably never used. But for the sake of this tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to go to audience attributes, and there's a series of options that you can choose. So you can choose to target by company, size, names, that sort of thing. What I would do is, based on the ICP that you are particularly focused on, you should be creating your campaign based off of that. So for example, let's go with job experience first. What I want to do is I want to target specific people that I'm selling a software to. And let's say that I want to target someone in like IT. You can do that. You can target specific people from IT. Just so an FYI, you can actually target pre-built audiences from LinkedIn themselves. It's okay to start with, but they're not probably as good as it could get if you just targeted directly, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go after like an IT director, right? So director of information technology, let's say anything IT director related. You got information technology, senior director, let's say select a few of these, right? And so what I want to do is I could either target by job title, if I want to be very specific. Mind you that this could be very expensive as well, because you're specifically targeting a job title. The more specific you get, the more expensive it will get. So you have to actually play around with some of the combinations to see over time, and test, by the way, you have to test this out. Test out each combination over time to see which one's the cheapest, which is fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to narrow by the industry. So again, audience attributes, you can go after specific demographics, which I would not use, but I would use company. So let's go after industry. So let's say I wanted to target specifically financial services. I would layer on financial services, and then on top of that, we can see that we're at 10,000 of these particular people from on LinkedIn. About 10,000 people are here. So now we have our location selected, our job title selected, and company industry selected. I would actually spend some time looking at some of these audience targeting parameters. Company is very, look under company, and what you want to do is you want to specifically look at company industries. You can do company name and company size. Sometimes people use company revenue. So I would layer on, in terms of firmographic data, looking at getting in front of the right companies and in the right location. And then you would layer on your job titles, right? So your job titles, you can use people, a combination of function and seniority. So if I was looking for IT directors, I could go as far as saying that I want to target job experience function, and we're going to go information technology. And what you would do here is you would further narrow down to target just directors, and this would, if you switch this to this will give you a total of, you can see how it went from 10,000 if I target just those job titles to 73,000. So now you have access to a higher audience, a larger audience. And it will tell you, for example, over here, it will tell you the segment breakdown. So what your current audience looks like. Most of them are in information technology. You could do this, that's by function. You could do it by seniority and say, okay, most of them are a director, and 12% belong to VPs. And so what LinkedIn will do is it will give you estimates based off your targeting parameters. Now let's use these parameters to actually go ahead and name your audience. So I would actually say, again, objective. So let's say it's lead gen. You could predominantly use LG, which is fine. And we're going to use dashes for this example. The reason why we're not using, by the way, website conversions and website visits is because, one, you need to be able to generate enough data around website conversions first before you start to optimize for a website conversions campaign. And for website visits, this is perfectly fine to use. I'd actually recommend it, or even engagement and video views. But it's important to know that right now we want to set up a lead generation campaign simply because we don't have we're assuming we don't have a landing page. We don't have any forms on our website that specifically provide this asset, right? That we want people to see. We want the IT directors to see. And what's important here is you want to make sure that you keep things strict so you have some control on your campaigns, because you might have a limited budget. So over here, what's important is you want to uncheck enable audience expansion. And what this does is it stops LinkedIn from expanding your audience parameters. So it won't try to expand outside of these things that you've selected. We're now going to select ad format. And the ad format's important. For simplicity's sake, we're going to use single image. That's generally the one you want to go with when you got lead generation ads. But there's a new one, well, not new anymore, but it's called document ads. And what this means is that if you do have a white paper to showcase to your IT directors, you can actually show them a preview of your actual document of the white paper and then set a limit on the number of pages they can preview. That way, people are more inclined to building some familiarity with what they're actually getting beforehand. Marketers have found document ads to be popular, but for the simplicity's sake, we're going to go with the original single image ads because lead generation campaigns are also great in their own way. Select single image. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that your LinkedIn audience network is always switched off for your campaigns. I wouldn't recommend it. It's simply LinkedIn actually using or leveraging their publisher network, so other websites, to show your ads on, and not only on the LinkedIn platform. We care about the LinkedIn platform and showing the people on there. So ensure that that is checked off. Now, let's go to budget and scheduling. I would always recommend a daily budget. And what I would do is you would normally set your budget at the floor if you're still testing on a very small budget. But in this case, I'd actually recommend about $20 to $50 a day. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep this as 20 here. We're going to keep this as run campaigns continuously, because you'll also be coming back into this campaign to go and check things out and to measure performance or monitor performance. And what we want to do is normally you keep the optimization goal as its default for leads, but the bidding strategy is what you want to select. Normally you'd see it would look a bit like this, and you'd have to select something. So what you want to do is you want to click on the ad drop down, and you want to select manual bidding, and this allows you to actually have more control over your bidding at the beginning and see what kind of results you get on your particular budget. Normally, as you can see, LinkedIn's actually quite expensive. It's saying that per lead we're looking at around $20 per click, but you can generally go well below this. I would always bid about even 40% lower than this amount. Or what I would recommend is starting at the floor. So let's say $2, it will shout about it being too low. So then what you want to do is quickly just test how much it would cost. Let's say 6, it's probably going to be 7 at this rate. So let's go 650. And what you would do is you would start at the floor. So until it throws the error, go a little bit up until it stops throwing the error. And then you would actually gradually increase it every day to see if that improves your impressions and also the number of clicks you're getting to your ad. But ensure that, just remember to access more of the audience, more of the 73,000 and unlock a higher audience, sort of more competitive audiences. People are expected to bid up in order to gain that. And of course, if your performance is fantastic and your click rate is above the benchmark, your average click-through rate is above the benchmark, you'll get a cheaper cost per click over time, because LinkedIn want to serve the more engaging stuff to their audience. Now what you want to do is you set your budget and you schedule to set up. What I would mention as well is just, we're not going to focus on conversion tracking today because we're focused on a particular lead gen ad that we're looking to set up. And this is now where you select your single image ads. What I would do is I would click on create an ad to get started. Let's name it, let's say something white paper test one. You can call it the name of your white paper, and for the sake of this purpose, I'm gonna call it test one. And also you can create a new form, right? So over here, we want to create a new form. I want to say that our form name, go through the specific things, and you want to call it exactly what you want. So it'd be like, hey, this is the ultimate marketing analytics configuration guide for B2B. Or we can say ultimate B2B marketing analytics configuration guide. It sounds like this is nonsense, but this is what we're going with. And then the details, you want to ideally add like some details about the actual lead gen asset. So let's say this white paper focuses or helps B2B marketers in successfully setting up their marketing analytics with the best metrics, with the best recommended metrics to track their overall marketing, their overall performance, let's say, just to stay within the guidelines. There we go, 160 exactly, fantastic. Doesn't have to be 160, it could be less. And then what you want to do is you have a series of certain fields that you can go through. You can use email address, which would be the default email address, but you can also use something like a work email, which is here, and you can see that it will pop up here. I would always recommend just keeping it as simple as possible in the beginning. You are going to get, for every lead you generate, you're going to get the person's information, i.e. their LinkedIn URL or whatever it is. So even if you did their profile URL and you want their first name, that's what you probably need, and you probably want their work email. You can choose to validate the email, but you got to remember that this will restrict for people that are using their Gmails or Yahoo or whatever it is. Any personal emails will be validated, and so probably even kicked out, right, to say that this is not valid, so therefore you have to enter another email address. And it's what you do, you probably paste in your privacy policy, which it will verify and which you need. So we can say like, let's say vertical.com/privacy policy. That's fine. You can have your text, and you can have like a confirmation, thank you for downloading the white paper, right? And then you can have like visit the website after this, so it could be growth vertical, learn more about growth vertical below. And this is what we're going to do. So there we go, agree, and we're going to create that form. It's created the asset. And what you're going to do here now is you're going to start with your ad, right? So you're going to actually create your ad, put in a headline, download, and then you can put a destination URL here as well. So if you want, you can say, let me go to growthvertical.com as well if you want a destination URL. So you can actually get people to download the ad, but also get them to go somewhere else after that as well. So, and then you'd upload an image. So you can say, either I want a stock image. Okay, not sure what just happened there, and then what you want to do is add your description, which would be your headline here. So download the guide, and then you want to do download as your CTA, select the CTA. And then what you want to do is you want to save the ad. And now here we go. Now, let's go over quickly what we have done. We're going to click next, and this is where we can review everything. So we know that this is our awareness campaign that we've set up at the minute, but it's focused on lead generation in the beginning to go ahead and target people in the US in the financial services industry who are in the IT and director area. We've disabled audience expansion, which is great. We've got our ad format. We've enabled LinkedIn, but we've disabled LinkedIn audience network. We've got our budget and bid. we've got our ads. Now all that's left to do is to hit agree and launch, and then the campaign will launch and your ad creative will be reviewed. Right now it's in draft, but it'll be reviewed. It will be set to reviewed, review, and then it'll be set to active when it's actually been approved. So our campaigns are live now, and we want to know where the leads go when someone fills in the lead gen form. Very simple. It will be under data. It'll be under assets, and it will be under lead generation forms. And over here, it'll give you the option to click on this menu and download leads. So this is where all the information will go. And here you can follow up with people, or you can nurture them over time. What I would do is create retargeting audiences, which we can go over in another video. But for this sake, you've got a lead gen campaign live at the minute. So for future videos, I'll actually talk a bit more about setting up retargeting audiences, which is important. I'll talk about campaign structure and what's recommended, and some different bidding strategies that you can go for, some different ad creative strategies, even the recommended ad formats for certain campaigns. Remember, for lead gen campaigns, document ads, very similar to lead gen forms. You just need to create a document and upload it, and it's got a series of check steps that are very easy to follow. Or we go for the simple single image ad, which is also high performing too. So now that we have the campaign set up, I also want to make a few things clear to you. What you should be doing is making your ads relevant. That's very important. So your ad copy must address specific pain points all the time of B2B SaaS decision makers. So those IT directors that are looking to buy your software in the future or download this guide. Try and tie things in with pain points, and always show them the exchange in value, that if they download something, what are they going to learn? What's the actual outcome that they're going to achieve by consuming that piece of information? And make sure things are clear, benefit driven, so your headlines are actually benefit driven and that speak directly to your target audience. It's very important that you call out IT decision makers if you're targeting them, because we found that when you address a specific target audience within your ad copy as well, not only does that increase the quality of the clicks that you're getting to that ad, but it also, let's say if you're targeting a broader audience, you're able to actually cut through the noise and filter out any irrelevant people and get those clicks at a lower CPC because of the higher or the larger audience size. There's also 3 caveats to keep in mind. The first one is like budget considerations. It's important to start with a smaller daily budget, so like $20 to maybe even $50, and that's so you can start gathering some data to understand exactly how your campaigns are performing, how the audiences are performing, and how your assets and ad formats are performing. And what you should do is you should expect higher CPCs generally than other platforms. LinkedIn is an expensive platform because they hold the data. They're the only network that actually targets or holds a lot of that professional workforce data. They are more expensive than targeting people on Facebook or Google, but the leads are going to be much higher quality, and they can be more higher intent depending on what your strategy is. Caveat number 2 is actually audience targeting. Be careful not to make your audience size too small or not too broad, right? So don't narrow your audience way too much, and don't broaden your audience way too much. We saw earlier that if you target by job title specifically, you're going after only those job titles and ones related to them, but the audience size will always shrink, meaning your CPCs shoot up because you're constraining the campaign from learning to. And broad is also if you just targeted multiple job functions, so engineering and information technology, but maybe you did directors, VPs, and everything like that. If it goes too broad as well, you might lose focus on your campaigns. So it's important to aim for your audience sizes between 20 to 80,000 for like the optimal results from what people have seen. But again, it depends on your industry. Sometimes some industries just don't have that many people, and and if they do have those people, maybe they're just not as engaged. So you'll always find some discrepancies in the data from what we all say the benchmark is to what you're actually experiencing. The last caveat that I want to talk about is lead form optimization. So you should actually keep your lead form short, so like 3 to 5 fields max. You saw that I said first name, LinkedIn URL, and email. Actually, if you can always do first name and email, which is perfectly fine, but I would recommend first name, email, and then a LinkedIn profile, or just first name and email. And ensure that you try and over time include one qualifying question so that you can start to filter out the low quality leads. That could be maybe in the beginning you're just focused on leads, so you just want to generate them. That's perfectly fine, and then you can do all the filtering in the back end. But to speed things up and increase your quality, on who you're reaching out to, who you're following up with, what you can do is just add qualifying questions. So there we have it. This is a straightforward way to start generating leads on LinkedIn for your B2B SaaS startup. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you haven't seen my previous video on content marketing for SaaS startups, check it out. It's perfectly paired with LinkedIn ads for a complete lead generation strategy, simply because you can see on how you can leverage specific pieces of content that's impactful to be used in promoting it on places like LinkedIn for that specific target audience. Question: are you currently using LinkedIn for your B2B marketing? Comment yes or no in the comment section below. If you like today's video and you want to see more stuff like this, then please do like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any particular questions or you want to see any specific videos in the future, feel free to reach out and let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. See you soon.